everyone, it's Evan here from the Trade Risk on Wednesday, May 9th. We're intraday right now, and I want to walk through some trade setups, some watch list stocks, some things I'm paying attention to that you may find interesting for your own trading, for your own strategy and watch list. So we're going to kick things off here with 7 names. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 names today. And the usual sort of disclaimer here that do your own due diligence on these names, especially as it relates to earnings. Just double check the earnings dates. I know we're getting through the thick of earnings season, but just double check all of these names. And everything that I'm going to present to you today, I intentionally selected names that haven't quite broken out yet. We've seen a nice move here in the markets to the upside over the past 3 or 4 days. Today's a strong session. We're up almost 1% in the S&P 500. So there's lots of names on my watch list that have already moved. They're on sort of a day 3, day 4 move. I'm going to kind of skip those and give you some names that are still sort of basing out. So they may not be ready exactly today, but they're names I'm paying attention to for the next several days, maybe the next week or so, to see if we do get continued strength in this market. These may be some names to rotate into to get some nice tight entries in. So let's jump into it here. So first off, the S&P 500, I think it's at an interesting spot here. You know, we went into depth on the current market environment in yesterday's video, but you know, if you are just looking for some broad market exposure, volume is light today, but take a look, it's breaking above, say, these dual kind of declining trend lines here. It's clearing above some of this horizontal resistance. So if you're interested in a kind of broad market, tight, risk-adjusted spot to jump into the market, this is an interesting day here. If we can close strongly, you know, in a stop around 265 to 266 or so, you know, you may be able to get a move at least to retest these recent highs here up around 271. That's only a few dollars higher. There's a gap to close. And then maybe, you know, if you are of a bullish posture here, you know, you certainly could look to target some of these earlier March levels. So something to think about. I have no position here myself, but just wanted to kind of present that to you. But hopefully the names that we can bring you here are a little more interesting. So the first 4 names are going to come from my list, and the second set of names are going to come from our partners over at Investors Business Daily. So the first couple names, oil related names here, because oil is a hot sector and it has had a great run, but we're still going to show some names here. And again, it hasn't quite broken out here. This is the first we're looking at is EC, and this is a name I think I may have mentioned once or twice before, but just take a look at this high tight range that it's been in, kind of this sideways channel over the past several weeks here. Volumes picked up and had a nice high volume day yesterday. See if we can get a strong close, a break above 2230 or so, and maybe we get some more rotation into this name here, EC, in the oil space. So that's our first one. SU. Here it is, another play in the energy space here, and this one's starting to break out today. I believe this had earnings yesterday, so that is out of your way. Double check that, but I'm pretty sure it did have earnings yesterday. High volume day, did get a nice turnaround, and now it's starting to break above the range here over the past couple of weeks. So again, you can see long-term uptrend, been basing out. It's had a strong move from early March, and it looks like it's continuing its rise here. So if you're bullish on oil still, if you want to play this momentum, this sector strength that's been hot, EC, SU, some good starting plays there. And finally, last from the oil energy sector, we're looking at FANG here. I believe this reported earnings today. Take a look at the volume coming in, probably going to get the largest volume day here of the year. And if we look at the weekly chart, here's what we're trying to resolve above here in Diamondback Energy, FANG. We've got a year-long sideways base that we've been moving about 110 to 130 or so. And this week, we're trying to finally break to new weekly closing highs and clear above all of this recent supply in here. So once again, if you're looking for some exposure in the energy space, if you believe in it, if you think oil can continue, then these are 3 names to pay attention attention to. If you don't, then certainly leave these names alone. If you don't think oil can go higher, if you think you want to fade this sector, then, again, that's your due diligence, your own strategy, and certainly I encourage, everyone to continue what makes sense to them. So those are 3 energy plays. Last but not least from my list here is WYNN Resorts. It's getting a pretty nice move today. It is already up 3%, so it's had a nice move, but it's really a day one move because it's just today clearing above this multi-week, in fact, it is multi-month resistance here right around 192. 194, I'm sorry, breaking above that. Nice range expansion. Volume starting to come in. We're going to get an above average volume day, maybe not a huge day, but certainly a nice move here for WYNN Resorts. This, I believe, also has earnings out of the way, so this one, you're free to sort of jump in here and play this breakout if you do believe in the story here. If you look at the weekly chart, equally sort of as compelling here, breaking out above the highs from March. So those are 4 names that haven't quite run. Those are names that aren't off to the races like many of the others that I've been watching for you to pay attention to. The next 3 all coming from IBD's list. I encourage you guys to check out the work that they're doing. I am a partner with them, but I've been getting some trade ideas from their stock lists, and these 3 come from them. So first off is BZUN. Again, intentionally selecting names that haven't quite broken out yet. And you can see here, if we go to the weekly chart first, we've just been basically moving sideways high and tight after this nice range expansion, this nice move higher in early March. We've gone sideways now for about 2 or so months, right in here between $42 all the way up to just about $50, and you can see we're kind of coming up to the top end of that. Still looks like it needs some more time, so again, keep it on your watch list. Maybe this is something that starts to move next week, or perhaps it's after earnings, because I do think this one still has to report, but I think it's an interesting name to pay attention to. This open gap here from March is still open. So that's BZUN. Next up from IBD is ATHM. So this is Auto Home here. Again, had some nice volume yesterday. Think it may have reported yesterday, but you'll have to cross-check that. Here is the weekly chart, strong long-term uptrend, and you can see over recent weeks here, it's just been moving sideways between $90 and $100. We're at the top end of that range. We're up a bit today. Let's see if we can get a break and close above $100. That may resolve this range to the upside and continue this uptrend here. So ATHM, I'm liking it, watching it for the next couple of days. And finally here is PGTI. This one here definitely does look like it needs some more time, but what's interesting about it is look at the volume that's coming in on the right side of this base here. This probably, again, I think this did just go through earnings, so that could explain the volume increase. But if we look here at the weekly chart, more of kind of that flag that you're seeing here as we made new highs in early March, and then we've kind of just been pulling off and flagging out, letting these moving averages catch up, kind of this down channel here that it's potentially on the verge of breaking above. And take a look at the volume from last week. So I think, above $19 or so, maybe a little more under the radar type of name, clear through this sideways range here at $19, and this could start to really move to the upside. So I like PGTI, paying attention to it. Think it's got some good potential there. Very small cap, under $1 billion this company, so a much smaller name here to pay attention to. So that's what I got for today's video. All names on the long side, and the market is seeing a nice move here. It's getting perhaps a little stretched in the short term. So again, be patient, stay selective, wait for your, for your fat pitch, if you will, and swing for those setups. So thanks so much for watching. Again, in the description here, you can see the link out to IBD's stock lists. If you're interested, check them out. And I will talk to you on Friday for a weekend market recap video. Thanks so much.